Man, it's that old thing, perseverance, consistency, hard work. My goal is to put the same work into, my businesses, my family that I put into football. And I've been running with that mantra since I got married back in '97. That if I'm going to have a successful marriage, I got to, the same hard work and same consistency and discipline I had on the football field, I got to put in my marriage and with my kids and with my businesses and all that. So it teaches you a lot, man. How to deal with your fellow man and not look at his color, but look at what he can do for the overall good of what you're trying to accomplish. So sports to me in general is just an incredible deal when you talk about football specifically because of the closeness of guys. I just believe it's an amazing sport.
FootballGamePlan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. This weekend in Daytona Beach, Florida, I will be the color analyst for the FCS Bowl, which pits a lot of the FCS top talent on the field at the same time in front of NFL and CFL scouts. Let's take a look at the roster and see some of the talent that will be on display this upcoming weekend. First of all, here's what you need to know about the FCS National Bowl. It's an annual postseason college football all-star game consisting of the top players from college football's FCS schools. The inaugural FCS National Bowl was played in 2014 in December at FIU Stadium down in Miami and moved to Daytona Beach Stadium in Daytona Beach, Florida in 2016, which is home to Bethune-Cookman, which is an FCS program and also an HBCU. Now, the National Bowl and FCS Bowl All-Star Weekend for non-FBS schools has been the only games of its kind to attract numerous NFL and CFL scouts. Players come from all across the country and even into Canada to participate in this ball game. Now, the rosters gives NFL and CFL scouts a chance to view and get to know some of the best players from smaller schools over the bowl weekend. And like I just said, numerous NFL and CFL scouts get a chance up close and personal to get their eye on a lot of the underrated talent in college football. And what happens, all 32 NFL teams will receive and review the FCS National Bowl film as the game and practice film are distributed directly to all NFL teams by NFL Films. Now, here is a look at some of the top talent that'll be participating this week at the FCS Bowl. And we'll start on the offensive side of the ball. And one of the more intriguing names to get to know this weekend is quarterback Michael O'Connor of the University of British Columbia. Now, he started his career at Penn State before transferring to UBC. And in his first season with the T-Birds, he led them to a Vanier Cup championship, which is the national championship of youth sports Canadian college football. I got the chance to watch him up close and personal this past May at the East-West Bowl in Quebec City, Quebec, which features the top 2019 CFL draft prospects. And the 6'5", 235-pounder was the star of the week, displaying the ability to put the football wherever he wanted to on the football field. And I'm excited to see him get back down there and compete in the States under American football rules and to see how quickly he can get acclimated and be effective. There will be a ton of attention on him from both NFL and CFL scouts in attendance, as he's the top CFL draft quarterback prospect in this year's draft class, maybe the best one in quite some time. Running back Ryan Foltz out of Wagner finished this season with nearly 1,800 yards and 12 rushing touchdowns. He's a home run hitter with above average balance and footwork. I'll be watching how well he catches the football this week during the practices. Foltz was also a very durable back with the Wagner Seahawks, carrying the ball over 30 times in 5 games this season, including a 43-yard effort against Central Connecticut State. Griffin Norberg out of Valparaiso was a move piece within the Crusaders offense. At 6'2", 225 pounds, you saw him in the backfield, in the slot, on the boundary, on the field side. So you get that he was a key playmaker for this Crusader football team. He led the team in receiving as well with 9 receiving touchdowns. And I'm excited to see how he matches up and how he moves this week against some of the top defensive backs in the FCS. Now, he was a big-time player this season, like I said, for the Crusaders. And against Youngstown State, he went over 100 yards and scored a touchdown against the Penguins, a very tough secondary. Matthew Pike is one of the best offensive linemen in the SoCon and in the FCS as a whole. He was a big reason why East Tennessee State was able to make it to their first FCS playoff appearance in program history. I want to see how versatile of a player he can be moving forward, having the ability to play both guard and center at the next level. It's been fun watching Bethune-Cookman's defensive end Kevin Thompson blossom into one of the top edge players in the subdivision. He's a lengthy defender that has gotten stronger at the point of attack each season for head coach Terry Sims. I thought he acclimated himself well against Nebraska this year. I'm intrigued to get a good gauge of how his athleticism can translate this upcoming weekend. Linebacker Solomon Brown seems like he's been at Charleston Southern forever, but that's how often I've heard his name called during Bucs games on the broadcast. He's a classic run and chase linebacker that's solid in pass coverage, and that's a part of his game that I'll be taking a closer look at during these practices. And in the secondary, I'm a big fan of Alabama A&M's Dylan Hamilton. He was on our preseason radar and was able to continue to elevate his game this year as a senior, helping the Bulldogs to a 6-5 record and a second-place finish in the SWAC. Now, Hamilton is a big-time factor in the running game, and I'm more interested to see the type of range he has on the back end. So that's just a few of the names of the players in this ballgame. To check out the full rosters, head over to FCSbowl.com. Also, here's what you can expect coming from me this weekend at the FCS Bowl as far as content is concerned. We will have our post-practice powwow podcast, which recaps today's event, as well as all of the news, notes, and tidbits coming from the practices. Also, our scout team podcast, which will feature interviews with NFL draft, CFL draft prospects from this week's All-Star game. We already have a lot of players and prospects lined up for interviews, so be sure to check that out. And you can find both podcasts on iTunes under Football Gameplan Podcast, as well as on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/FBGP Podcast. On the Football Gameplan Network, located at youtube.com/Football Gameplan, you'll have our daily practice highlights and prospect interviews. Also, follow me on social media for all sorts of unique content, updates, and analysis during the FCS Bowl practice. And you can watch me live as the color analyst on Sunday afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Flow Football TV. Go to flowsports.tv, become a subscriber today to watch the game.